Pleasure to be here at the Red Cloud Conference. Thank you for the invitation, Red Cloud and Mr. Talbot. So we're going to be speaking about Global Atomic Corporation today, a company that I started in 2005 that made a big uranium discovery in 2010. So Global Atomic has two divisions. One is the uranium division and one is a zinc division. Our uranium operation is in Niger in West Africa, a country just undergoing a little bit of political reorganization. And we have a zinc recycling operation in Turkey. So we actually produce cash flow from that asset, and the uranium project is now in the process of being built. So the Dasa project is the only greenfield uranium project currently in the world. Other uranium projects are ones that existed in the last cycle, and some of these are being restarted. So this is really the only new uranium project, and it's a tremendous deposit that we've drilled off and developed here. So this picture here shows our opening blast ceremony in November of 2022. And since then, of course, we've moved the project along. Right now, we've developed the underground to the ore body. So this is the highest grade uranium deposit in Africa, and it's situated in Niger's established Tim Mersoi Basin. It's similar to Canada's Athabasca. It's a big sedimentary basin. And of course, that's where all the uranium has been mined in Niger over the last 50 years, primarily from the two French mines, Sommer and Cominac, up near that town of Arlit that you see there. So we're in an area that's got very good infrastructure, roads, power lines, availability of labor. And then we have another project a little bit further south of Agadez called Tinigaran, where we've also got a deposit. That's about a 10 million pound deposit. We have the Isakanen deposit, which is about 40 million pounds. But Dasa is 300 million pounds. So this is a order of magnitude much bigger deposit and much higher grade. So Global Atomic, at a glance, we are the highest grade deposit outside of Athabasca. Mining began in November 22. And as I mentioned, the ramp is now down at the top of the ore body. So our financing, we've been doing it all with equity. Up to this point, we've spent about $100 million here. And right now we're working with a couple of banks, a North American syndicate of Canadian EDC and a US bank that are putting together a financing package for a project financing. So we've already signed offtake agreements with 3 U.S. utilities, and so we'll have enough contracted uranium. So when we begin production, now scheduled for the end of 2025, we will have enough revenue stream to handle the debt load on a project financing. So a big thing that's happening now is that we're completing all our detailed engineering, and we're updating our mine plan and feasibility study. This is very important. So we did a big drill program last year. We've now incorporated that into a new mineral resource estimate. And we're now doing all the calculations on the updated mineable reserve and the updated production schedule and, of course, updated NPVs and IRRs. So this project is being built under EP4 and IFC performance standards. And of course, since we have development banks involved in this project, the ESG side of things have been thoroughly reviewed. As a matter of fact, we've been working with these banks now for 18 months. Of course, all of our permits, operating team are all in place, and we expect a commissioning now in Q4 of 2025. This is a cartoon longitudinal of the deposit. So initially, after the initial discovery, we drilled off that area in that dotted line, all those yellow areas there, looking for the source of the discovery on surface, which was a very tiny, I would say, seep that came up from underground. And we took the material from there, and it was running at 30% uranium. So we said, wow, I mean, this is from just working in the field, traversing with scintillometers, taking samples. We hadn't seen anything that high a grade, so we went on the hunt to find out where that was coming from. And of course, we did a lot of drilling on surface, outlined a number of lower grade surface deposits running at 800 to 1200 ppm. But that wasn't the big kahuna. So after further development and further drilling, we decided to drill under a tooth horizon called the Abinki Formation. That local knowledge said, well, under the Abinki, you're not going to find anything. We decided to punch some holes underneath that thing, and of course, that's where we found the big Dasa deposit, which is now really, as I mentioned, 300 million pounds. The grade's over 5,000 ppm, which is 10 times higher than most grades in Africa. So this deposit still remains open on strike and at depth. And so right now what we did at the first phase of our feasibility study, we did on an area called Phase 1, which gave us a 12-year mine life producing about 45 million pounds. The new updated feasibility study is going to incorporate the drilling, which has moved now into the Phase 2 area and brought a lot of those inferred resources up to M&I, which we'll be incorporating into that new mine plan. So there's going to be a big bump. You'll see there on the upper 2019 mineral resource estimate, all the yellow areas, those are the inferred. So this deposit is quite homogeneous throughout its structure. It's in various layers, sedimentary layers. And I think it's the only deposit in Niger where you have uranium mineralization in different geological time periods, right, from the Cretaceous up to the Jurassic. So it's quite an unusual deposit. And one of our employees, consultants, Dr. Peter Wollenberg, he used to be head of exploration for Areva in North America. He said this is the highest grade sandstone hosted deposit in the world. So the new updated resource estimate, you can see all the new purple bluey areas. That's where we've infilled that inferred and brought it into an M&I, which will then be translated into an updated mineable reserve. You can see here on the grade or on the MRE where we've at 1500 ppm cutoff, we bumped the indicated by 50%, the part there in the yellow. So, and you know, of course, the inferred also is something we can't forget about. We've got 50 million pounds there that are over 5,000 ppm. So this is a very unusual beast that we have here. Now in 2021, we did our feasibility study using $35 a pound as the price of uranium. Now, with contracts that we have in the works, we're at $70. I think uranium prices are going to continue moving higher, but you see, even on that Phase 1 area, that small initial block, it's pushed our before-tax NPV to over $1 billion, and after-tax NPV at an 8% discount. Now, some people say we should use 10 or 12%, but anyway, at the time we used 8. So that gave us an $867 million at $70 a pound, which is the current price, and a 68% IRR. So this is one of the lowest cost, will be one of the lowest cost producers in the world, in the lowest quartile, and about $19 a pound with a $22 ASIC. Oop, back up. There you go. So this is our projected production profile, about 4.5 million pounds a year. And as we transition out of Phase 1 in that initial block and move into Phase 2, we expect to keep it at about 4.5 million pounds a year. Now this mine was designed at 1,000 tons per day. So because the grade is so good, we don't have to mine very many tons. And that's kept the CapEx down. And of course, if the uranium market is there, we can always start producing a little bit more. But the thought was, as a new entrant to the market, a new developer, we should not try to blow the doors off it. We should come in with something that we can easily handle, that the uranium production we can sell. You come out with 10 or 20 million pounds a year, it's tough to sell that as a new company. So 4.5 million pounds, we're not too small, we're not too big. We just thought that was a sweet spot. So that's how we designed this project. So there's a shot of our ramp now. You saw the first picture with the initial blast. Now you can see this is the ramp going down to the ore body. It's all been paved now. This is a sandstone, of course, so we wanted to have a nice hard surface on the bottom. And that ramp is now well in excess of 600 meters, and we're starting the ore body development now going down dip. Some of our construction activities, we're using all state-of-the-art equipment. We had a Canadian contractor called CMAC Tyson out of Val-d'Or come to site, and effectively what we're doing, because we brought a lot of people in from the old Cominac mine that shut down. They were mining a ramp access underground, but all old equipment. So we brought in CMAC to get the mining started, and we've been doing training programs with local people on all this brand new state-of-the-art equipment. So it's been working very well. We even have a simulator on site. So you go through the training program with the simulator. When you pass the test, you move on to the actual machine. So it's a great program. We do mentorship, and we have a countrywide hiring policy from people 18 years of age that want to learn about mining and be involved, and we bring them up the curve using mentorship programs. So these are the catalysts leading to production. Of course, I'm not going to read all this, but effectively what we're doing now is just completing all the detailed engineering and moving to a construction phase on the plant. The mining is already ahead of schedule, so we have to slow that down because we don't want the mill the mine to produce 200,000 or 300,000 tons of ore and have it sitting on surface before the plant is ready. So we're augmenting the schedule to make sure things are flowing in the right order. This is basically the area we're in. It's a flat, open desert. There's no towns or villages to move. It's a perfect place to mine uranium. But, you know, we've been in the country since 2005. When I first went there, we spent about 18 months going through old records in the mines department. We picked the areas we wanted to explore, and we have, as I mentioned, 4 deposits in the company right now, with Dasa being the flagship. But really, our ESG in the country's been something we really focused on as a Canadian mining company, and bringing in food during droughts, medical supplies. We drill water wells for local villages, education and training programs. And, you know, this has all been verified by the development banks that have done all their due diligence. So right now, I mean, as far as the project goes, the government there, of course, they had a coup in Niger at the end of July. So people have been asking whether we lost the project, whether the government's going to nationalize it. The answer is no. This is the second coup I've lived through in Niger. That's how they do political change in the country. And it's sort of prevalent in Africa. So it's just something you have to live with. And they, of course, need the project. They need the employment. We're going to employ 600 to 700 people during the building of this project, and probably 400 people on a sustained basis. So it's very, very important. They're going to get a royalty and tax income. And of course, all the benefits that go with a mining project. They actually have told us that they view this project as a project that can rejuvenate the entire north of the country. So, you know, Cominac shut down, Somer is on the wane, lower grade deposit. This is something that's going to really rejuvenate the whole mining industry in Niger. So we want to do what's right for the country in today's environment, including battery-operated vehicles, solar power, all these things. So this is all part of our plan. Our ESG VP, Mr. Tim Campbell, he loves this slide, but of course you can't read anything on it. But what it's showing you here, just in a broad view, is all the things we've done on the ESG side since 2008. And you know, there's a lot of things that we've been doing in the country, and it's very much appreciated by the local people as well as the government of Niger. Just a few shots here. It's a little different than what you see in Northern Ontario, where I built my last project. But we have excellent community relations, and we go and meet all the village chiefs, elders, and various townspeople. That's my buddy there standing in the portal with me. His name is Sidi, and I thought that picture was sort of neat. And of course, the one on the bottom left there is one of the water wells we installed with the water tower. And so these are projects that are very well received by the local community. Everybody knows what's happening with uranium. There's just none out there. So prices have gone, when we started the process, at $16, $17 a pound. We're now at over $70 a pound. The last big spike was up at almost 140 in 2007. There's never been a situation in the world, and my roots are with Denison Mines. My father started that company. I worked underground as a miner there, and uranium would go in cycles. I think this cycle is going to be different. I think the world now has adopted nuclear, small modular reactors. They don't want carbon emissions, and even the environmentalists are saying we need nuclear power. So it's never been like that. And, you know, after Fukushima, everything was just put on hold. Nobody was doing exploration for uranium. We made the discovery just at the end of 2010, and we were going to go public. We had JP Morgan be a lead investor. And then Fukushima happened, and everybody just said, oh, now what? So for 10 years, we managed to move this project along to where we are now. So this has been a long process, but it's coming together now, and we're building the project. Just a short note on our Turkish operation. This is a brand new plant we built in 2019-2020 with our partner Befesa Zinc. State of the art. We provide a very valuable service in Turkey to steel mills. We take their waste, we reprocess it. Glencore is our biggest customer. So we ship high-grade zinc concentrate from our own port facility in Iskenderion that we share with the steel mills, and we ship it to Europe. So we get all of our revenue stream in US dollars. We repatriate to Turkey cash that we require for working capital. And you see here, like in 2023, the numbers don't look too good, but we went through 2 earthquakes in Turkey. So this year was very interesting. We had earthquakes in Turkey and a coup in Niger. But we're still hanging in there and moving things forward. Some of our board of directors, well, actually all of our board of directors, all very experienced people. This is all on our website, so I won't go through that. Some of our management team. And here's some of our management team in Niger. Moussa Souley, our DG, their Director General, he used to be the head man at Cominac for Orano. So we've got just a top-notch group here moving this forward. This is at the end of October. Of course, when the coup happened, we lost half of our market value. We used to be up at 600 to 800 million. Now we're at 421. It'll recover, I have no doubt. But we managed to keep the share capital pretty tight at 200 million shares out, and we'd like to keep it that way. Niger, just briefly, 7th largest global uranium producer. I think we're going to be bringing it back up to 4th or 5th once Dasa starts. and 50 years of uranium mining. You can see downtown Niamey there, lots of new buildings, hotels, lots of activity in the country.